alarms should be going off in your head if you have trunks, but you're not getting IP communication from your clients to your default gateway. And the alarm that should be going off in your head is that your trunks aren't allowing the right VLANs. Okay? This is definitely one of those things you want to be thinking about. And so, yeah, we have our trunk links in place. We see them up. But just because a trunk link is in place doesn't mean that we're conveying all the VLANs across. So let's look at this. Let's do a show interface trunk. Show interface trunk is the best way to go to look at all the VLANs that are allowed. Now you have to do this on both sides. So just looking at it on one side is not confirmation. You also need to think end to end. So let's say we're troubleshooting PC2 and its connectivity to its default gateway, and let's say that's DSW1. You have to think, okay, check the trunks from ASW1 to DSW1 and DSW2. You might follow spanning trees, root ports in order to ascertain exactly the path, but you would want to check ASW1 and its trunks, and then DSW1 and its trunks. And that's really the name of the game. And in the real world, there's a great thing that we can do. So we see, as instructors, people making mistakes. Say switch port trunk allowed VLANs. This is how to adjust the allowed VLANs. One of the best things to do, now you may not be able to do this in the exam, but in the real world you can just say add. Then it says take whatever's there and amend to this. Otherwise, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to just explicitly put in, and I just copied and pasted, by the way, to put that in. But the more elegant approach is to use the add keyword to amend the VLANs to making sure that the VLANs that exist at my access layer can get to the distribution layer. There's also one other thing that we saw here, and that's the native VLANs. The native VLANs have to match on both sides of a trunk in order for good behavior. Really, we get a weird merged VLAN behavior. Here's what to check for. Now, one thing you might do is you might do a show VLAN brief, because the convention in examination is that they will tell you the native VLAN that they want. It's usually 99. So I'm going to say VLAN 99, name native. Look to your VLAN database to tell you what the native VLAN should be. Now this is an exam. This is an exam thing. This is not a real world thing. You would probably have better documentation than that in the real world. But if this were the case, and VLAN 99 were to be your native VLAN, do a show int trunk again. And I can see that my native VLAN is 99. Good. That has to match on both sides. Now, I had already had that in place. But if I hadn't done that before my demonstration, I would need to make sure that I corrected for that. The command that sets the native VLAN, by the way, is switch port trunk native VLAN, and then you put in the value. So that's what you would do. And I had already had that in place. So definitely one of those things you have to have in your mind. Oh, I got to make sure that I understand how to work with VLANs across the trunk. The bigger one is making sure that the VLANs are allowed, but I don't want to rule out the importance of making sure that VLANs have to match on both sides of a trunk for the native as well.